If you are the type of person who wants to fill up your grinder hopper, set it, and completely forget it, then grind by weight is one of the most convenient ways to do exactly that. Problem is, there just aren't a lot of consumer grinders out there with this feature. But out of the ones that I have tried, the Eureka Libra might just be my favorite one yet. The Libra is a relatively new product in the very popular Mignon line from Eureka. Libra being the Latin word for scale, or to be exact, pair of scales, which hints at this grinder's party piece. Now, we've seen grind by weight on the channel before, for example in the Baratza Sette 270 Wi, but let me explain why I would personally pick the Libra in a heartbeat. Starting off with build quality and design, I think that Eureka have been given maybe not the short end of the stick, but definitely not the credit they deserve in terms of the very robust build quality they put into their products at pretty much all price points. I also have the Specialita in-house currently on loan, and these are both rock solid units top to bottom. The entire body, metal. Top plate, metal. Portafilter forks, solid metal. Now, if I had to nitpick the Libra in particular, I'm not sure why it didn't get the knurled metal grind dial that's found on the Specialita, which is a bit weird given that they do exist in similar price points. But overall, the Libra suits its asking price from a pure build perspective, and that's saying something because it needs to beat out even the Mahlkonig X54, which I was blown away by the build quality on. By the way, if you want to check your local pricing for the Libra, I will have it linked down in the description below. In terms of looks, the Eureka is definitely not the most inspiring design, but depending on your personal preferences, this could be a good or a bad thing. Simple lines aren't always a negative, especially when you start getting into some of the more bold color options. Moving on to the user experience, this is really where grind by weight grinders have a big advantage over their time-based counterparts. Don't get me wrong, time-based grinders will work great once dialed in. They are fully capable of pumping out the same dose time after time. But this isn't without a few caveats, which are that you don't change the grind setting, you keep the hopper full, and you don't change coffees. Any of these things will change the weight of coffee that is ground by a grinder in the same amount of time, meaning that you have to adjust the time to get the same dose. The very first thing I noticed when I started using the Libra was just how much grind by weight speeds up the dialing in process. You can change the grind setting, change coffees, or whatever, you're going to be getting the same amount of coffee shot after shot in the portafilter, meaning that you can do away with weighing beans and just focus on tweaking the grind setting and brew recipe, which means that you're going to be iterating much faster and getting dialed in faster. The accuracy on the Libra was also impressive, being within plus minus 0.2 grams most of the time, if not being bang on. One small quirk was that the grinding display doesn't seem to believe that. You'll set it to say 18 grams, grind, and it'll keep counting up above your desired dose before stopping. But then, if you check it on a scale, the dose is perfect. A bit of a weird quirk, because if you had to guess, you'd imagine that they would cheat and make it programmed to seem more accurate rather than less. Sticking on the display topic for just one more second, the touch controls are intuitive and responsive, allowing you to set custom single and double shot doses, but I was a little bit disappointed by the overall quality of the screen, which is clearly just an LCD that distorts and rainbows every time it's touched. No, it's not a big deal, you aren't trying to watch movies on it, but I did have several people comment on this when trying out the grinder. It's also interesting to note that the display is always on when the grinder is switched on. I would have personally preferred an option to have it go to sleep after a certain amount of time so that you don't always have to reach around for the power switch if you want it turned off while sitting on your counter. Moving to the actual espresso quality, the Mignon Libra is set up with a 55mm pair of flat burrs linked up to a stepless grind adjustment. Initially, I was a bit concerned with how small the adjustment dial was and if it would allow me to make small enough adjustments. However, I found that there is absolutely no play in the mechanism, and the screw pitch must be pretty darn shallow, because making small adjustments of only a few seconds to shot time was not only easy, but consistently took a bigger movement on the dial than I was expecting. Keeping on the subject of the grind dial, the biggest complaint I hear about Eureka grinders is you can't repeatedly switch between espresso and other brew methods, because once you make one full turn on the dial, you have no easy way of making it back to where you were before. And I agree with this, and clearly so does Eureka, based on the new indicator prototypes we saw at Host this year. So if you're looking for an all-around grinder that can easily switch between brew methods, I'd maybe suggest looking at the Mahlkonig instead. It's easier to make large grind adjustments repeatedly, although at the sacrifice of precision on the espresso end. However, like I said at the beginning of this video, if you are looking for an espresso grinder with one of the best workflows around, I think this is a pretty easy pick, and that's why it's been on my espresso bar for the better part of 3 months or so now. Shots lean towards the traditional side with a strong body and deeper chocolatey notes, which lend well to my primary use case, which is currently for lattes and other milk-based drinks. Grounds came out nice and fluffy and well distributed, and the included metal dosing ring actually made the process very clean, leaving pretty much no stray grounds on my white countertop. Compared to something like the Baratza Sette, not only is the Libra much quieter and has a much better build quality, but I also found it easier to set up with different portafilters, more accurate shot to shot, and just an overall more refined and confidence-inspiring ownership experience. If you are looking for a hopper-fed workflow and want to completely eliminate scales when dialing in, then the Eureka Libra is a great pick that I was honestly surprised to have kept on my personal bar for as long as I have. Heck, after this video, it's going straight back into my kitchen until I get something else in. I like it that much. So again, if you do want to check out this grinder, I'll have it linked down in the description below. If you've enjoyed this video, please leave us a like and even consider subscribing if you want to see some more like it in the future. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.